We've seen Marvel use a lot of CGI in all its movies and bring forward the most amazing movies for us. And not just Marvel, we've seen some beautiful movies where CGI was the hero, from Jurassic Park to Avatar. But the latest Halloween special by Marvel has a different case. In this video, we'll talk about how Werewolf by Night did a transformation without CGI. So stay tuned and keep watching. First up, Marvel's Halloween special didn't use CGI. According to director Michael Giacchino, the werewolf transformation scene in Marvel's Halloween special, Werewolf by Night, didn't utilize CGI. The one-hour movie, which will be Marvel's first Halloween special, will be Giacchino's feature directorial debut for the MCU. The first trailer for Werewolf by Night debuted during the D23 Expo. Fans are greatly anticipating seeing Jack Russell, a Marvel Comics character who has previously appeared in comic books, alongside characters like Moon Knight and Ghost Rider, make his Marvel Cinematic Universe debut. Gael Garcia Bernal will play Jack Russell, the Werewolf by Night, and Laura Donnelly will play monster hunter Elsa Bloodstone in Werewolf by Night. The movie is about a group of monster hunters who band together after losing their leader, Ulysses Bloodstone, and decide to choose a new leader by competing to find a sinister artifact. Werewolf by Night is significantly different from other Marvel projects in terms of the introduction of monsters, as well as the black and white aesthetic. Giacchino recently mentioned another way in which it differs from the MCU. He discussed Jack's transformation in the special interview for the Phase Zero podcast. Referring to inspiration from traditional werewolf transformations in horror movies, he also expressed his desire to avoid copying what had already been done. So the director explained that he chose to take a different direction and concentrate on Elsa's reaction to the werewolf transformation while showing the actual monster emerging in shadow and silhouette to hype up the horror by exploiting our innate fear of the unknown. The director claims that the shot was created in camera rather than using CGI, which isn't done by the MCU traditionally. Next up, what do these practical effects mean for MCU? The franchise has used a combination of practical effects and CGI since it began with 2008's Iron Man, but we've seen MCU come under fire for its use of CG quite often. Fans have also regarded the use of CGI to be excessive. On the other hand, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has also been able to produce visual effects that have won awards, thanks to the technology currently available to filmmakers, offering an impressive level of immersion into the fantastical worlds of Marvel's heroes. However, the CGI occasionally falls flat, and viewers have expressed a desire to go back to projects which have a more realistic feel that comes from using more practical effects than CGI. Fans have expressed dissatisfaction with the Marvel Disney Plus shows in particular, because apparently there's more use of CGI there than in the movie. But these TV series have a lot of time and financial constraints, hence the use of CGI. Anyways, after the most recent revelation that Marvel is moving towards more practical effects, fans are kinda expecting less use of CGI in the upcoming phase. Following up, CGI's more time-friendly. Despite the public's renewed interest in practical effects, Giacchino's remarks suggested that the transformation sequence's practical effects took months to complete. Given the MCU's strict scheduling, it is unlikely that they will make a significant change to their use of green screens and CGI. However, smaller-scale isolated projects like Werewolf by Night can explore experimentation and new visual styles because of Marvel's recently expanded franchise as a result of the Disney Plus era. Werewolf by Night has received positive early reviews from critics, and the director's dedication to practical effects suggests that when it debuts on October 7th, the Halloween special will be a huge success. Let's look into Werewolf by Night, a gory horror tale. With their first ever Disney Plus original movie, Werewolf by Night, Marvel is getting into the Halloween spirit. Although Werewolf by Night belongs squarely in the horror genre, you shouldn't expect any excessive gore, because the movie resembles classic Universal horror films more so than any gore fest that has recently been released. So much so that the transformation of Werewolf by Night is done in the conventional black and white style to complete that classic horror aesthetic. Director Michael Giacchino told Den of Geek that he believes that the world has entered a phase where everything frightening has become overly sadistic. He placed great importance on the fact that this story has a true moral core and has more than just blood and gore. The Wolfman and King Kong are two major influences on Giacchino's score for Werewolf by Night, which draws inspiration from classic horror films from the 1930s and 1940s, as well as Tobe Hooper's Poltergeist. Not to mention, Moon Knight might also make a return. Moon Knight arrived on Disney Plus and in the MCU before Werewolf by Night, but the latter character debuted on Marvel. Moon Knight made his comic book debut in Werewolf by Night issue number 32, which was part of a long-running series. In this case, the antagonist was Moon Knight, who had made it his mission to hunt Werewolf by Night. The characters would eventually cross paths again because they have had a prolonged conflict and stormy relationship throughout the comics. But will he make a debut in Werewolf by Night? Nope, not yet. Although Moon Knight did make his debut in Werewolf by Night decades ago, the two are currently unrelated. Werewolf by Night is being promoted by Marvel as a standalone film within the MCU. Although Werewolf by Night's creator, Michael Giacchino, has stated that no crossovers are currently planned, it is almost a given that if the film is well received by audiences, characters like Blade and Moon Knight may appear in later installments. It would be very intriguing and entertaining to see Oscar Isaac reprise his role as Moon Knight in the Werewolf by Night Disney Plus special. Moving on to some other news. First up, Daredevil's reboot has a filming update. Thanks to his appearance in She-Hulk Attorney at Law Episode 8, Charlie Cox's Daredevil will soon be returning for more MCU action from Marvel Studios. But for the Men Without Fear, that's just the beginning. In Phase 5, with the release of Daredevil Born Again in the spring of 2024, he finally gets the chance to star in another MCU solo series. Although there isn't much information currently available about Cox's new solo series, fans are already rooting for it. Cox's Matt Murdock and Vincent D'Onofrio's Wilson Fisk both are returning for a record-breaking 18-episode first season, which is twice as many episodes as any other MCU Disney Plus show to date. Cox and D'Onofrio are still waiting to get back into gear for their roles after they return in summer 2023's Echo alongside Alaqua Cox. There is still a year and a half before Daredevil Born Again premieres. Fans may now be able to guess when the Daredevil and Kingpin actors will revive that new series thanks to a recent rumor. The filming of the movie will start in February 2023 and it will take place in New York City. Next up, MCU's Sokovia Accords were eliminated from existence. For the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Captain America Civil War was a pretty big deal. For starters, it finally reached a breaking point in the conflict between Steve Rogers and Tony Stark, causing Earth's mightiest heroes to split apart by the time Thanos showed up. The Sokovia Accords, however, had already been implemented when Captain America and Iron Man clashed, and they had a significant impact. The Accords, which General Thunderbolt Ross proposed, were an effort to hold the superheroes accountable. This precaution was put in place in the hopes of reducing field casualties and halting the kind of extensive destruction that frequently surrounded the scene of superhero activity. In the latest episode of She-Hulk Attorney at Law, Charlie Cox's Matt Murdock was brought into the picture. The fan-favorite lawyer was seen defending Luke Jacobson. It wasn't the case that grabbed the fans' attention, but the slight mention of the Sokovia Accord, which was signed by the Avengers to avoid casualties. The Accords were last mentioned in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This is also the first time Matt Murdock appears to have been involved with those specific restrictions, since despite how naturally they might have fit into Daredevil's story, there was hardly any mention of them in his earlier adventures. So, in that sense, the news of the signing of the Sokovia Accords isn't all that shocking. As a result, Marvel Studios won't have to be concerned about that set of rules whenever they introduce a new hero. However, the Infinity Saga made many of those laws, so eliminating them will undoubtedly have some sort of impact. Last but not the least, Ironheart spoiled. Thankfully, fans won't have to wait until Ironheart on Disney Plus in 2023 to meet Riri Williams, Dominique Thorne's character. The forthcoming film Black Panther: Wakanda Forever will serve as the character's first appearance. Furthermore, she will even be very important to the plot. A recent clear image of one of Riri Williams' cutting-edge Ironheart suits, which will appear in the upcoming Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, was released to the public. It was the red and black suit specifically that was presented thanks to a Marvel Legends figure. It was obvious that it appeared quite upscale. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think MCU will stick with CGI, or will they move to practical effects? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.